Hey, 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 it's the Sentinel boys. District Sentinel Radio. Special midterm coverage coming to you live from the well-fortified Sentinel bunker. Sponsored by the DSA Accelerationist Caucus. Thanks to our Patreon subscribers. Welcome. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome. Oh,
Sam Knight, are you ready for tonight?
I am very much ready.
Yeah.
In fact, as you noticed when I came over here, I bought a bottle of Prosecco. It's in the fridge.
When are we busting that out?
We are busting that out if Steve King loses. So that won't be till later in the night.
Yeah, that'll be late.
And
I'm going to bust out a Capri Sun right now. I'm pretty parched, and we had this thing laying around.
I am also pretty parched.
This is not product placement.
I'm very
for the
dehydrated.
record.
No, not product
We aren't
placement.
getting paid shit for this.
This is product placement, this Reese's cup. No, just
if anyone's wondering, yes, I did get a Lunchable about 15 minutes ago. So, look,
Jinx.
here's the deal.
Here's the deal is, first of all, I'm sick, as you can tell. I'm sorry, I have the sniffles. If you're on the East Coast, I think it's been raining up and down the East Coast. It was raining in D.C.
Yeah.
It was raining in D.C.
Yeah.
Which makes you think, doesn't it? Could be
Think about what?
I'm not
Where are you going with this?
I'm not trying to get too conspiratorial and drive away some of the viewers here, but maybe the military is shooting those special shells into the atmosphere and causing it to rain to keep voter turnout down.
A new voter suppression effort? I mean,
It's,
Trump has rallied all the forces at his disposal to try and swing this midterm election his way. I wouldn't put it past HARP weapons.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's a joke, though, for the record. So
Yeah,
stay
we're really,
tuned.
we're
we
really
got the
starting
real
this
news.
off well for our new listeners. This is free. We're just broadcasting this out to the world. Here's the deal. We're going to be here most of the night, but we're not going to be continuous because we have batteries to charge and phones to charge, and we don't have like a real total professional setup. We do have multiple camera angles, although we're going to get the light better when we come back on this one. We got Sam Knight mouth cam too right there.
Yo, what up?
You know, you can take down the guard. We're not using the guard today.
Oh,
You
that's
take
right.
down the guard so people can see your face here when we go to the front shot here. Anyways,
the guard is down.
so we're going to record
My guard is down, people.
Yeah, we're going to record like 30 to 45 minutes every hour, take like a 15 or 20 minute break, charge our batteries, maybe create some new graphics and stuff, and then come back to you. So we're going to be broadcasting intermittently throughout the night. We do have a listener rant line. If you want to call at any point during the show, 202-684-6108. We'll listen to your messages, play them on air. During our breaks, we'll listen to your messages and then cut them so we can play them on air later. We're going to be bringing you results as we get them. We're going to have intern Nate on the show later. Intern Nate's at his other job. Well, at his real job. But he's going to be here later. We got this middle seat open for him. We're going to have all sorts of special guests later. I was talking to Owen Higgins. We might have him calling into the show later. So we got a bunch of stuff to get to.
We'll have other people in studio too.
Yes,
we will.
We will.
I don't want to say names, but yet.
Maybe not people, but
No, we're definitely having people.
Oh yeah, we are. Yeah,
we are.
Yeah, I forgot you booked some guests. Cool. Yeah, we also are going to experiment with things like when we're going to announce a call. We've got this cool little.
Oh, where is it?
Critical alert.
Critical
alert that we can go to when we have a race to call.
So for the record, so far, no races to call. I've got my eye on the Indiana results trickling in there. Indiana and Kentucky
Let's just
results.
take a little preview of what we're going to be looking at here. Coming up at 7 p.m., we're going to have the polls closing in Florida, Vermont, Georgia, Virginia, South Carolina. 6 p.m. we have some polls closing in Indiana and Kentucky. Indiana and Kentucky, a pretty interesting race here. That's one of our first possible pickups for Dems in the House, Kentucky 6th District, where we've got incumbent Andy Barr against Democrat Amy McGrath. Those are some of the recent polling numbers. by their names. This would be the first pickup. Democrats are going to, of course, need to pick up 23 seats in the House, 2 seats in the Senate. That's pretty unlikely.
That's right. And Barr's opponent, it shouldn't surprise you, is a military dim.
Yeah.
Retired Lieutenant Colonel Amy McGrath. Tax cuts have been a major issue in the race, and Paul Ryan has been campaigning for Barr. So we're trying to keep our eye.
How less relevant can you get right now than Paul Ryan?
Well, we're trying to keep our eye on who Paul Ryan is turning out for, and to see how they're doing. Maybe there will be a unifying sort of variable in their results, i.e., everyone hates the shit out of Paul Ryan. So maybe Andy Barr is going down because Paul Ryan's dragging him down.
I mean, we'll definitely get a glimpse of how this night is going if Andy Barr goes down pretty handily. Also, there's a few other races in Indiana which closed at 6. In the House, we got Jackie Walorski against Mel Hall. This is a seat that Republicans should win. Pretty solid seat. But and you said this hasn't been called yet, this race?
No.
If
very few results in from both Kentucky and Indiana so far. We're still waiting. It's like 0.3% reporting here in terms of
So if this goes on to
precincts.
the night, this could be a bad sign for Republicans because this is a seat they should definitely win. Then, of course, you got Joe Donnelly and Mike Braun in the Senate seat. That is a seat that Democrats are playing defense on, and one of the reasons why they have such a tough route to taking the Senate.
3.3% of precincts reporting in Walorski's race, and she's up by a lot, 40 percentage points. But again, it's early.
Can we get intern Nate on to know where the returns are coming from?
Which county and et cetera, et cetera. Another interesting thing from Indiana down in I'm not sure which the 6th district. We've got Greg Pence running. And I think that is a solidly GOP district. He should have no problem winning it, but we will have, I believe, the brother of the vice president in the House of Representatives in the next Congress. Perfectly normal country.
I mentioned some other states that have polls closing at 7. That includes Georgia, where you have 2 House seats, 2 more potential pickups for Democrats, 2 incumbents that are playing on the defense here. These are either toss-ups or lean Republicans or lean Democrats.
Handel just beat Ossoff in that
Yep.
hugely expensive special election.
Yeah, Panera Bread boy.
Panera Bread boy. The government data centers, the grand coalition of government data centers fell apart for John Ossoff. But let's see if Lucy McBath, what's her name there? McBath, yeah Lucy McBath. Let's see if she can do what John Ossoff couldn't do and flip what was formerly Newt Gingrich's district, I believe.
Yeah, and then we've got some seats in Virginia to keep an eye on here.
Oh, yes.
4 House seats, 4 more potential pickups for Democrats. I've got my eye on Virginia 7th, Dave Bratt.
Yeah.
Dave Bratt, who pulled off the shocking upset to defeat Eric Cantor, one of the weaseliest members of Congress ever. Can't stand Eric Cantor, but he lost. David Bratt's been in there, and he could lose tonight.
Another one everyone's got their eye on, Virginia's 10th, Barbara Comstock. This should be an easy pickup for Democrats. This is in Northern Virginia, a.k.a. suburban Washington district. The district went for Clinton in 2016, and really House Republican candidates in Virginia are going to have to deal with all night getting reamed from the Senate election because the Republican candidate against Tim Kaine is Corey Stewart, who is best known for defending Confederate monuments. Yeah. And as you'll recall, Ed Gillespie ran a far-right campaign against Northam last year in the gubernatorial race, and he got trounced. So Corey Stewart expecting to go down.
Yeah.
And he's going to drag down Republicans with him.
We'll touch in on some of the gubernatorial races. We're going to focus more on the House and Senate stuff here tonight. But we mentioned the races in Georgia. Of course, you've got one of the most blatant attempts to steal an election there by Brian Kemp against the Democratic rival there, Stacey Abrams. That'd be some sort of win for Democrats there in Georgia. But I don't recall seeing an effort so blatant and so desperate to steal an election as we've been seeing in Georgia. So if Brian Kemp is successful and does pull this off, stealing the election blatantly and winning, we know who to blame. This was not Russian trolls. This was not Russian disinformation. This was standard Republican election rigging that we see pretty regularly.
And speaking of gubernatorial politics, we'll have our eye on Florida for sure, where Andrew Gillum is giving Democrats a boost, reportedly up and down the ticket. It's looking like he's going to win there, and it's looking like he's going to drag Democrats up with him, and there are a few seats. The 15th, Dennis Ross's seat, he's retiring. The 26th, Carlos Curbelo. It's a long-time conservative constituency. He's got Cuban exiles. And the 27th, which used to belong to Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, the neoconservative, and she's retiring. And so all three of these were looking possibly at flipping to Democrats, maybe more. I think possibly Gillum could do more for House Democrats than initially expected, but who knows? Let us not underestimate Democrats' ability to fuck this up.
I think Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, as recently as like 5 years ago, was plotting how to murder world leaders in her committee, in her House Foreign Affairs Committee.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Sad to see her go.
Yeah,
definitely. Coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll be coming up to you at 8. We've got a ton of polls closing.
We got some 7:30 action, though. Did we get to that? Yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah.
We do have some. North Carolina closes at 7:30. We've got Ohio. We've got West Virginia. We've got the 9th District of North Carolina. Should be interesting because Robert Pittenger, it's his district. He's the incumbent, but he's not running because he was defeated in the Republican primary from the right. So now this is in play. We've got the 13th with Ted Budd, who's got the just a very unsettling name. Paul Ryan campaigned for Ted Budd.
Paul Ryan just getting out on the trail.
Yeah, Budd is a gun store shooting range owner. So we'll see how Paul Ryan does for Ted Budd.
Yeah. Then we go to 8. Can I go to 8 now?
We got 2 in Ohio, but no need to talk. We'll talk to them when we get there. When we get there, we'll go to 8. We got a lot at 8. We got a ton.
Connecticut, Delaware, Washington,
shit at
D.C. here, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island. I don't need the rest. You all can read the rest. You all can see what else is closing at 8 o'clock. Moving on later in the night, we're going to get to 8:30. One state, Arkansas. Arkansas closing at 8:30 p.m. 9 p.m. Go on to the big state, New York. Closing.
Big kahuna.
The big kahuna. The big tomato, as they call it. Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska. We got Louisiana, Wisconsin, Arizona. A couple interesting Senate seat in Arizona to keep an eye on. Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, New Mexico,
there's
South
some
Dakota.
seats up for grabs in Colorado in the House. There are a bunch in New York, a few in Michigan. One in Nebraska, that's a bit of a reach for Democrats. A few in Minnesota. There's a very wacky guy in Minnesota who probably, in any other time, he would probably get more media attention. But his name is Jason Lewis, and he's a former conservative radio talk show host. And he just has a catalog of crazy shit that he said probably in a normal time, he would get like, remember when Michelle Bachmann was in the news a lot when liberal writers needed something to write about? It's like, well, let's write about how insane Michelle Bachmann is. He's of this mold, of the hardline Minnesota religious nut mold.
Yeah. So rounding out now, we have parts of Michigan closing at 9. Eastern parts closing at 8. 10 p.m. Iowa, folks. Iowa is where I'm
King.
looking. He's probably going to win tonight, Steve King. But if he loses, we're cracking that baby open. What'd you get again?
Prosecco.
We're cracking that Prosecco open. We're probably lighting one up.
Yeah. We're definitely lighting one up.
When does Maryland close?
Maryland closes at, I believe, 8.
Maryland's at 8.
Yeah,
we got our eye on Andy Harris, Congressman Andy Harris, one of the most anti-weed members of Congress, who is constantly scuttling D.C.'s plans for legalization.
Yeah, unfortunately, he is probably going to win. And if I'm not mistaken, the reason why is that Democrats basically gerrymandered the state to put all the most of the Republicans into Andy Harris's district.
Yeah.
So that has come back to bite us in the ass.
Yeah. 11 p.m., state of Washington, California. We'll probably still be here. This will be about the tail end of our coverage here.
We'll probably be. There are
Oregon.
a bunch of seats up for grabs in California, and if Dems don't have the House by then, everyone will be on edge then, and we'll probably be on if we're not too drunk.
Yeah, we might not still have our bar mitzvah suits on, but we'll see how's it going. We probably will definitely not be here for
Don Young.
When Don Young is up at midnight.
The Dean of
in
the
Alaska,
House.
The Dean of the House. Those of you who've been following the zine, who've been reading the zine, one of the questions on fantasy was, will the Dean lose? Now you know who it is, who we're talking about.
Probably knew who it was before. It's a meaningless position. It's just the longest serving member of the House of Representatives gets the title and gets some ceremonial roles.
I noticed a lot of you are in the chat room. Feel free to chat it up. Send us messages if you guys have news and want to relay it, or corrections and want to relay it to us. Please do. We do not have, or we gave the garbage can interns the night off tonight. We're not going to be doing anything with the garbage can. So we don't have any research teams or anything, so we're kind of doing this on the fly. So
can we get a critical alert
Wait
sound?
a second.
Can we
do
get a
we
critical?
really?
We do.
We
this
do?
is serious.
Sure.
Serious.
What do we
Critical
have?
alert.
Critical alert here.
AP, the Associated Press, is calling the first race of the night, the 5th Congressional District in Kentucky. Hal Rogers, Republican, wins re-election. No surprise there, but it's the first call of the night. It's the first call of the night. So
we got our first critical alert of the night.
How about that, folks? How about that?
Sam, well done on that. Also, let us know what's going on. We aren't going to be focusing too much on state-level referendums, but if you want to chime in the chat room and talk about whatever referendum your state is working on and what you voted on, please do. That would be good.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not reading the chat as much as I would on a normal show because we've got tons of results pouring in. My nose is leaking fluid, obviously.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I'm trying to read the chat. Matthew says, "Whoa, this is critical." Talking about the critical alert. Big Chicho says, "Send feet pics, please." So
Not happening.
Send Big Chicho your feet pics.
I see that some people are inquiring about intern suck.
Intern suck. Ooh.
Should we save this maybe for like our standard show tomorrow? I think this is maybe a little too inside for the midterm live coverage.
This I think this could be inside baseball. Well,
look, I'm just going to say for our loyal listeners who know who intern suck is, we'll deal with that on tomorrow's regular District Sentinel radio. If you want to listen to it, subscribe. Patreon.com/District Sentinel. I can't believe it's taken me this long
to plug
our Patreon.
Yeah.
We're doing this whole thing free, hoping to get some Patreon subscribers. We do.
No, I'm doing it because I'm having fun.
We do a nightly radio show, a news show every evening, I guess late afternoon at 4:20 p.m. that you can tune into with us. You also get the podcast version of it. We do a weekly show, the Sentinel Cast, where we throw someone in the garbage can. I'm sure a lot of you already know this stuff. So if you aren't a subscriber, check it out, patreon.com/District Sentinel. You'll get your own haikus. I see someone is commenting on Alabama. Patrick, here in Alabama, we're banning abortion and electing a governor who fired a cop for blabbing about her stroke. Sounds like pretty standard stuff, I guess, going on in Alabama. Let's see. Braun is beating Donnelly 58-37 right now, according to early polls. Big Chicho says, I think we can call the entire Senate right now from that. Democrats really are going to have a tough time winning the Senate tonight.
give you an update here on the 6th district
an
of
update,
Kentucky.
or is it a
It's not a
critical
critical alert.
Okay, just an update.
Politico is reporting 0.8% of precincts in, so very early still, but Andy Barr only has a slight lead on Amy McGrath, 3 points about, 51 to 48.
Again, this is a pretty critical. Let's take that graphic off because those numbers are old now, so we won't go back to that graphic until we come back next time. But that will be a bellwether race here for the night if Andy Barr loses. We got Matthew talking about in San Francisco they have Prop C, which is a small tax on shitty, huge companies to fund homelessness services. It'll probably pass, but who knows? Jack Dorsey hates it. Well, if Jack Dorsey hates it,
It's probably good.
it's probably pretty freaking good.
The results from the Indiana Senate, very early, 1.4% of precincts. I'm not saying Joe Donnelly isn't going to lose, but it's still early.
Yeah.
For the record, are you ready to make any predictions tonight of how you see the night ending out?
Well, let's see. Let's bring open the zine here. Should we start flipping through the zine and see what kind of stuff
Let's do it.
the Congress play
Before I
Fantasy
die of a
Congress
stuffy
here?
nose.
Yeah. All right.
So we got some stuff here in the zine. We thought, hey, maybe you could gamble with your friends while you're watching.
yeah, this is probably you guys are gonna have to zoom into your to your computer and look real close. But where will Dems win more? Where do you think, Sam? Between California, Florida, and Pennsylvania.
See, this is a tough one. I wanted to make this a tough one. Do you have an answer for that? I feel like Florida is going to be the one there, but
Definitely feeling Florida here. I think they're going to pick up at least 4 in Florida.
But that said, Pennsylvania is being totally redistricted, and a lot of that favors the Dems. And if it's a wave, California. Actually, I think I'm going to go with Pennsylvania. Actually, I think I'm going to go with Pennsylvania. I take back Florida. Pennsylvania.
I hope people are listening to make sure. I chose Florida. You chose Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah. Let's write this down somewhere.
All right. Next, we got New Jersey or Minnesota.
New Jersey or Minnesota. I am.
In Minnesota, the Democrats are playing defense in one seat.
That's right.
The
They
House.
are.
Tim Walz, right?
They are. Tim Walz, and another one too, the Rick Nolan seat. He's retiring, and it's looking like that's going to flip. I don't know. I guess New Jersey is the easy answer there. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go with New Jersey.
Let's just go to the lightning round. Will the Dean of the House lose?
The Dean. Will the Dean lose? I don't think Dean Don Young will lose.
Will there be any New England House Republicans left?
I think that Bruce Poliquin will lose. He's the only House Republican in New England and Maine, and I think he's going to lose. So no.
We'll get to some more of these questions throughout the night. Michigan has legal weed on the ballot.
Good for Michigan.
Join the club, Michigan. Welcome, Michigan. Well, not yet. We'll see if you guys can get it past there. Also, one of the weirdest things, Florida, my home state, rarely am I surprised by how weird Florida is. But we got Ron in the chat room who's noting that the biggest referendum for him is Amendment 9 in Florida, which will prohibit offshore drilling and prohibit vaping in indoor workplaces. Because the two needed to be tied together for some reason.
I can't imagine why. Couldn't certainly no dirty money trying to.
How do you get the vaping teens to allow offshore oil drilling to continue?
It's brilliant.
How do you let it happen?
It's a great.
Somehow this passed. Like this went up to scrutiny whether or not you're allowed to do this sort of shit on amendments and referendums, and the commission that's supposed to police this stuff said no, it looks good to me.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta tie vaping to offshore drilling.
Yeah. Matthew asks, can he presently vape on an oil rig? Can you vape on an oil rig in Florida or anywhere? I'm guessing you probably can.
Of course you can.
You probably can't smoke on an oil rig.
Yeah, in fact, vaping sounds like a very safe alternative.
Aaron's saying no vaping on oil rigs, but I don't think Aaron knows what's going on.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I mean, if it's true, it's bullshit is what I mean. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying why the fuck would you not be able to vape on an oil rig?
We got Aaron who's saying that the odds are better for Dems than they've been since 2012.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, 2012, that was basically when Dems just sort of
coasted on Obama.
Yeah, coasted on Obama, but they didn't flip anything. I guess they kept the Senate.
I think they did win 8 seats in the House, but it wasn't enough to flip it.
Yeah. My favorite midterm was 2010.
You were working on the Hill, right?
I was working on the Hill. I was working on the Hill for a Blue Dog Democrat in 2010. And he lost re-election.
But
I was able to escape his office about 2 weeks. Got a gig working for the Russians. That turned out real well.
This is actually a perfect time to talk about some notable past midterms, which I feel like is something that one should do at the top of the show.
Sure.
Possibly throughout.
Yeah.
We got in 2010, as you mentioned, the Tea Party. Your boss was one of 63 Democrats to lose seats in the House.
Pretty much half the Blue Dog Caucus got wiped out there.
And Democrats lost 6 Senate seats. And then in 1994, y'all remember the backlash to Clinton. Dems lost 53 House seats. Not quite as bad as the backlash to Obama. And then they lost 7 Senate seats. Taking things back a little earlier, switching parties, 1930, Hoover finally feels the Great Depression because the GOP lost 49 House seats and 8 Senate seats. People were pissed that Hoover wasn't doing anything about the whole tanking economy. Then in 1966, we had a reaction to the Great Society when the Dems lost 47 seats in the House, 3 in the Senate. And then this is the big kahuna, in my opinion.
The big one.
1946, it was a reaction to the New Deal. Dems lost 56 House seats, 13 in the Senate. That's a big number for the Senate, by the way. And this predated the passage of Taft-Hartley, which was, of course, the goddamn nose.
Yeah, for people who are wondering, what's wrong with your nose, Sam. They're saying, is it Rudolph cosplay here?
No.
He's got a cold.
I have a cold. I was in the rain today. I have a cold. But anyway,
we'll deal with it.
We'll deal with it. The 1946 midterm was a big one because it paved the way for Taft-Hartley, restrictive labor laws. The McCarthy era happened not too long after that. So that was a shitty midterm.
I'd say so. Probably a little shittier than 2010 even. But that was pretty shitty with the whole Tea Party. Think about those midterms like in 2010 and then the general one in 2012 even is Republicans could have done a lot more, but they had people like Christine O'Donnell running in the Senate and stuff. But
true. I see people in the chat are saying I'm on cocaine. I deny these allegations. I am very much not an uppers sort other than coffee, and I've no cocaine.
Yeah.
Our Patreon is not doing well enough to do cocaine, in fact, now that you mention it.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. There are no results right now. We're going to do 30 minutes on, 15, 20 minutes off, 30 minutes on, 15, 20 minutes off. We're going to get some tissues for Sam Knight. We're going to fix a few graphics, update some graphics, check in on some results, maybe fix a few of these cameras and some of the lighting situation here. And then we're going to be back sometime shortly after the 7 p.m. hour. We want you to stick around with us. We're going to be here till 11, till midnight.
We're going to be here a while. We're going to be here a while.
Or until like Sam Knight's nose falls off.
No, goddamn it. My nose will never fall off.
I'm going to straighten the camera. Look at our background. I forgot to fix the camera after you ran into it in our hustle to get back on. So I'm going to fix that stuff too. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Stick around. We're here in D.C. on a midterm election night, so you don't have to be.